Hello everybody, I'm KC, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About. Today, let's talk about the Lego Batman movie. I know I'm sort of late to the party on this subject, and I'm really behind on Doctor Whooves Month, but there was no way I could not talk about this movie. The Lego movies never cease to amaze me. Even though I wasn't a fan of the idea of the Lego Batman movie, once the trailer started dropping, I was immediately hooked. And it became one of my most anticipated movies of 2017. But even with being hyped as heck for this movie, I couldn't imagine just how much fun I would have watching this. The spoiler-free version? It's great. It's got crazy action, it's packed with laughs, there are things that will really surprise you in this, and it even has quite a bit of emotional weight, at least more than you might expect at first. If you liked what you saw in the trailers, you'll love this movie, so go see it. Now for those of you who have seen the movie and want to know my spoiler-filled thoughts, let's dive right in. Right off the bat, the movie has an insane opening. You immediately have the Joker getting as many of the Batman villains, from the iconic to the obscure to the downright ridiculous, together to take down Gotham City. And it turns out that a quick Google search will tell you that all of these guys are real Batman villains. I honestly thought they made Condiment King up. This is pretty much a big introduction to just how crazy this movie is going to get. It is a love letter to everything Batman, referencing pretty much anything from the comics, to the movies, to the animated shows, while being clever satire and a respectful homage. And it even goes beyond Batman, which I'll get to in a minute, but these people clearly did their homework on Batman's legacy. I'm not the biggest Batman fan out there, but I appreciated just how much they managed to cram in there without it feeling too crowded. And the villain takeover is just the tip of the iceberg. But speaking of the villains, why didn't Music Meister cameo in this thing? Could they not get Neil Patrick Harris or something? Even if it was just for a second, that would have been awesome! I could have missed him, but I was looking and I didn't see him anywhere. This may be a weird thing to fixate on, but I just really like Music Meister, okay? But anyway, that's enough about the villains, for now anyway. Let's talk about Batman. If anything was getting me hyped for this movie, it was Will Arnett as Batman in the promos. And he comes out of the gate strong. He starts kicking butt and taking names of every villain in Gotham City while singing a heavy metal song about how awesome he is, and it was the best thing that has ever happened in human history. They really play up that egotistical side of Batman that we saw in the Lego movie, and it's really funny. I adore Will Arnett as Batman. I think he is perfect in the role, and he may be my new favorite Batman. I don't know, I'll have to sit on that. But if they were just playing up the whole look at how awesome I am side of this Batman through the entire thing, it could have been insufferable. But like the Lego movie, there is heart and thematic weight to it behind the laughs, and it strikes a good balance. They go into Batman's personal life and how alone he is. The Joker turns himself in the first third, and Batman is at a bit of a loss. Not because he can't be the top vigilante around anymore, but because without crime fighting, he has nothing else to do with his life. Insert Robin. This was another thing that could have raised a lot of red flags. The comic relief kid who really has no business being there, but the hero keeps him around for some reason. We've seen this before, done horribly. Even in other versions of Batman, Robin has been pure kidnap fodder, and this could have been the same. But I love Robin in this movie. He's a great character and works off Batman excellently. Not to mention, he is very, very funny in this. That little song he has after he gets into his costume that you've seen in every single trailer.
Now I'm free, now I'm moving. Come on, Batman, let's get grooving!
Still makes me laugh. Props to the voice actor Michael Cera, you did a great job. But he needed to be more than that for this to work. And thank God they made this work. Robin is actually a very competent and able sidekick despite his first impressions. And as he and Batman get closer, I feel it. And that was the important thing they had to get across. If they wanted to bring up what happened to Bruce's parents outside of a quick mention, they needed to address his fear of abandonment or putting others in danger and losing them the way he lost his parents. They handled this wonderfully, and while Robin is the catalyst for this, it's also shown through his friendship with Barbara Gordon and his surrogate father relationship with Alfred, which was the sweetest thing ever, at least to me. But I've always loved Alfred. I'll get to why this was so important in my final thoughts, but let's get back to the action and the villains, because oh my god, does it get crazy. Okay, first off, the Joker. When I heard Zach Galifianakis, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, I'm sorry, was going to play him, I had no idea how to feel. It just seemed like a weird choice. But again, All it took was a few seconds to hit me with yet another mood whiplash and say, this actually works. A lot of people love the Joker in this, and I am completely on board as well. I think he is hysterical, he's one of the funniest people in the movie, and that's saying a lot, and that guy, just knocks it out of the park. I also love this weird frenemy relationship he has with Batman that at certain points in the movie kind of makes you sympathize with the Joker. He just wants Batman to admit that he's his archenemy, and Batman says he isn't, and everything else the Joker does in this movie is just to get Batman to say he hates him. That's priceless! It kind of reminded me of the frenemy relationship between Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus, and it's just as funny and oddly emotional as it was there. So what is the Joker's grand plan to convince Batman that he is his archenemy? Well, this is where things get good. Okay, so they established very early on that the Phantom Zone from Superman exists in this universe, where the greatest villains in history are imprisoned. So the Joker tries to get to the Phantom Zone to round up all these villains, and what he finds is glorious. Pretty much every villain from a franchise Lego and Warner Brothers have the rights to are there. Agent Smith from The Matrix, the Gremlins, the Wicked Witch of the West, the Eye of Sauron, Lord Voldemort. Everyone seems to have that one that they absolutely freaked out over. And for me, that was the Daleks. Yes, there are Daleks in the Lego Batman movie. This is where I was trying not to freak out in my screening because there weren't many people there and I didn't want to seem like a weirdo, but it took a lot of willpower. You hear the Daleks for a second during a news report about the Phantom Zone, and I thought that was just a funny reference that lasted a second. But when they actually showed up, so much restraint was needed. That made the whole movie for me. And then they get to fight all of these powerful and iconic villains when they emerge from the Phantom Zone from a portal in the sky, because that's the only way villains get anywhere these days. And it looks like the most insane playthrough of LEGO Dimensions ever. You get to see Batman fight the Eye of Sauron, King Kong, and Daleks. This just became the greatest movie ever made. I don't think I can even properly describe this to you, because I was just in awe the entire time it was happening. Insane action, even more callbacks and references, incredible animation, and they even managed to fit in Batman's big character revelation in there, so points for that. I know there are a few things I didn't mention, but those are the big points I wanted to go over. Overall, this movie was epic! It's hilarious, it's inventive, it's crammed with things from all sorts of different franchises, but never feels too crowded. The animation is incredible, the voice actors give this their all, and I think the most surprising thing of all is, the characters were wonderful and had some great development. That may be weird to say, but I read a post on this movie from the Tumblr Fangirling About, and while it mentions a lot about the jokes and the references, it mostly talks about the characters. And I didn't think of this as a parody movie before, but this post pointed out that it is. When you look at some of the greatest parody movies out there, this is very similar. It pretty much hits all of the bullet points you need to make a good parody movie, including having heart to it and something resembling emotional weight to it. And it made me realize that has been what parody films have been lacking lately, and probably why they're barely around anymore. You can throw around as many jokes as you want, but if you don't care about what's going on, you're not going to get invested in anything. There has to be something for the audience to care about besides what the next joke's going to be, and that's what this movie does, and it really pulls it off. Is it as good as the Lego movie? I don't think so, but I wasn't expecting it to be. The Lego movie was a lightning in a bottle movie, and they can try and recreate that with as many sequels as they want, but nothing after that is going to get the same reaction. But that doesn't make this a bad movie. It's wonderful and very watchable in its own right. And if they want to make more Lego Batman movies, I am totally on board with that. Seriously, please do more. But I am wondering where this takes place continuity-wise. It's still in the same universe, and Batman is still a master builder because he uses those skills quite a bit in this, but they never really say if this takes place before or after the Lego movie. They never even mention Wildstyle in this movie. Does anyone know? Well, anyway, those are my thoughts on the Lego Batman movie. What'd you guys think? Let me know, and let me know what your favorite reference or cameo or callback was in this. There were a ton of them in this, and I'm sure everyone has their favorite. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.